So welcome everybody. It is the top of the hour. Welcome to Lunch Without Lunch, Rainforest, Alberta. If it's your first time here, a very warm welcome. Maybe throw an emoji or a physical hand up to show that you're the first, or it's your first Lunch Without Lunch. We'd love to. Hi, Tristan, welcome. Jazz, welcome from the ADAPT program. We'll be hearing from her later. Kat, loving the party you're having there. So please share your information in the chat. We'd love to get to know you more, connect on LinkedIn, and welcome you more personally to the community. So we'll get started here with a little introduction to the rainforest. And I'm sharing my screen today, which I'm not used to doing. Oh, timeout. I'm gonna have to do that again so I can get the full sound. So before we get started, we would just like to make an acknowledgement of the lands that we all live, work, and play upon. And so can you see my screen now? Thank you. Okay, so in the spirit of reconciliation, we would like to acknowledge the lands of the Treaty 7 region of Southern Alberta, for those down in Calgary. These are the territories of the Blackfoot Confederacy, including the Siksika, the Kainai, Piikani, the Tsuut'ina, the Stoney Nakoda Nations, and Métis Nation Region 3. And for those in the Edmonton region, we acknowledge the unceded traditional territories of Treaty 6, the Cree, Dene, Blackfoot, Saulteaux, Nakota Sioux, as well as the Métis in that region. So if you are coming to us from another area of Canada or otherwise and would like to share a land acknowledgement of your own, please do so in the chat. And if you'd like to take part in this tradition with us and share your own land acknowledgement at Lunch Without Lunch in future, just let me know. And we'd love to have somebody do that, step up and do that. So please reach out. So
I wouldn't mind just mentioning Touchwood Tribal Agency, who I'm helping out from Saskatchewan.
Awesome.
And they represent the First Nations of Daystar, George Gordon, Kawatusus, and Musqueam.
Thanks, Peter. Thanks for doing that. Great. So a warm welcome again to everybody. Here's how you can find us on social media, and we'll talk a bit more of other ways you can connect with rainforesters here throughout the introduction. So first, we'll just play this video to share our story.
Bridget, the audio's not working.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the share computer sound isn't on.
That is.
Can't hear anything either.
Okay.
I can hear it going through your speakers and then coming back through.
I can too. And now I can't find, here we go. There it is. Okay, let's try this again. Geez, Amber leaves me in charge for 1 week and all heck breaks loose. Oh, I'm sharing the wrong screen. Seriously, you guys, this is just not a good, good day for me. We'll get there. Okay, please be patient. I did click share sound, so we'll see. I thought I had last time too, so we'll see if this works. If not, we'll just go to the next slide. Let's just share it like this, if you don't mind. It's not going to play if I do that. I'm in the market for a new laptop that moves a little faster, so put that out there. Can you hear it now?
What does it take to realize an idea?
Woohoo!
Or for a seed to sprout? At Rainforest, Alberta, we know the answer is rooted in trust. Traditionally, Albertans have cultivated their ideas in established systems. Inputs that don't fit these systems are weeded out. Opportunities for growth are missed. But now, Albertans want a dynamic landscape that can evolve organically, like a rainforest. At Rainforest Alberta, we believe a culture of trust is the fertile soil where ideas grow. Our budding innovation ecosystem is a network of relationships pulling each other up as they push forward in their own field. Trust breaks down barriers. An open, inclusive network increases collaborative innovation. Successful breakthroughs inspire new ideas. A cycle begins. Rainforest Alberta is a movement to amplify trust by cultivating honesty, inclusion, and accountability. How? Our social contract holds us accountable to demonstrate trust across the province. We meet to have honest conversations around collaboration. This leads to more inclusive spaces for everyone to fearlessly build new ideas together. By raising the standard of trust, Alberta's ideas, talent, and resources can be evergreen. Visit rainforestab.ca to sign the social contract and start growing together.
All right, so that's Rainforest in a nutshell. We come together weekly at this Lunch Without Lunch event and throughout other ways in the ecosystem to build that culture of trust. And the more we let our guard down and be vulnerable and all those good values of the social contract, the more we can build this type of culture. And so part of today is doing just that. In the Rainforest, we talk about, Rainforest is based off of a book called Building the Next Silicon Valley, Rainforest, Building the Next Silicon Valley. In that analogy, comparing rainforest tech ecosystems, they talk about 6 pillars that make up the ecosystem, and they're all weighted differently. So building that culture piece is the most heavily weighted, leadership the second heaviest weighted, and so on. And so we run a scorecard assessment each year to measure these pillars, which was just recently completed, and that analysis is still getting worked on, and you'll have a fulsome report of our pillars and how we rate in Calgary coming at you soon. I'll also just share that video. Someone asked me about it today. It comes from Bedford Creative. Mackenzie Bedford's a previous community manager here at the Rainforest, and check out her website, Bedford Creative, because she has some really awesome new projects on there that are just so vibrant and cool. If you need any art media type work, just have to give her a shout out. So how can you make the most of this hour, Lunch Without Lunch? We'd like you to please introduce yourself in the chat, especially if you're new to the community. We want to get to know you. Use the DM function here and on our Slack channel to connect with people individually, or if you need follow-up on any of the conversations that are had today. We'd love for you to have your camera on if you don't mind. We don't care if you're eating your lunch. That's, you know, it's the lunch hour. But it gives us a better idea of who's in the room, and we get to kind of share a bit more of that interaction. And ask questions. This is meant to be an engaged conversation. So even though we have presenters, we always ask that people share their thoughts, their opinions, their questions in the chat, and then we'll have opportunity to unmute and then get into small groups and do that after the presentation. Ask more questions there. So our Slack workspace, once you sign the social contract, you do gain access to our Slack of about 3,000 community members. Lots of space in there to have conversations, to ask for help, to offer your resources, to give back. And I will just say, if you sign the social contract and you don't receive the onboarding email, check your junk folder, because that's been happening a lot lately. Once you get into the Slack channel, you will see the chat captured from today's Lunch Without Lunch in the channel lunch notes, and we do record these sessions and put them on our YouTube channel for anyone who wants to go back and have a look. So our social contract is made up of 10 values that we all agree to live by. Signing it is as simple as filling out a form on our website. We're highlighting one value every week and chatting a bit about what it means to us. So today it's all about honesty. I will be truthful and frank. I will break rules and call out elephants in the room. I love this one because I'm a very transparent person, but it also gives free rein to just have really honest conversations. So please feel free to do that here or in our Slack and elsewhere in your work and lives. And so I will stop sharing and we'll get into our presenters for today. So for about 8-ish months or so, we have been featuring entrepreneurs and having them tell their story from the lens of the social contract. And following that, we will have time to get together in small breakout rooms and get to know each other better. And we do have some pretty fulsome community announcements at the end of today. So we're going to try to jam a lot into this next little while. If questions run long after the presentation, we'll get into breakout rooms right away and have those conversations in breakout rooms so there's time for people to connect. But we have a longtime rainforester here, Heiko Peters from Alethea Medical. Hi, Heiko. And joining Heiko, I believe we have Alana and Stephen. So Stephen is the CEO of the company, Heiko's the CTO and COO, and Alana's the account manager. And so I'll let them introduce themselves further and make their presentation. And again, throw up your hand or put your questions in the chat and we'll address them as we go. On it with the share screen.
You guys can see it?
Yeah, perfect.
Perfect. So thanks for having us. So we have a few people from the company. So Stephen, you mentioned, Alana, you mentioned, so give a wave. Also believe we have Evan and James, and I'm not sure if I missed anyone else, but give a wave because we brought some team members today. And thanks for having us. I mean, we've been part of the Rainforest forever, so it's great that we kind of come down from having our heads down and doing work to kind of pop up and let the ecosystem know what we've been up to, because we've been up to, well, we think some pretty cool stuff. So without further ado, I've got a short presentation and then lots of time for question and answers, and then we'll go from there. Okay. So Alethea helps family physicians get specialist advice faster, like way faster, so they can treat you better. So now every good story starts with an origin story, and ours actually revolves around Rainforest. Stephen and Evan were part of the original group that kicked it all off in Banff. And I met Evan a few months later where he recommended lunch to without lunch to me. And I've been attending for almost 5 years now, almost every Wednesday. A little behind Gary. Gary's a trooper on that one, but I have missed the occasional Wednesday. But so we were all individually involved in the ecosystem, doing the usual stuff like paying it forward, listening, sharing, free help, all of that. And I was interested in doing some AI work with AHS through a friend of mine. I had pulled in Evan, who pulled in Stephen, and we started doing works with a doctor and a student on some potential opportunities. After a few months of just kind of helping them out and poking around and just offering free advice, the student told me about this other idea he was working on with another doctor, and that's where we met Dr. Devin Livingstone, our founder. So Devin is an ENT surgeon, and he had this interesting idea that with digital diagnostics and AI. And we started working with him, and shortly late after joined the company. So one of our early success stories is Kai here, which came about through another Rainforest connection. So we'd been talking hardware with Gary. So Gary G, let's wave, because Gary's a fixture here and has been super helpful. And he was at the same time talking to Christina, who I believe is also on the call. So Christina, give a call, a wave. And we'd been talking about her issues with, she had been talking to Gary about her issues with her son, Kai. Now, Kai was struggling at school and she suspected he was having hearing issues, but their family doctor wasn't able to identify anything. And if you've ever needed to see a specialist, you know they have really long wait lists. And she was getting frustrated and desperate, as any mother would. So as per the Rainforest way, Gary told her about us. We referred her to one of our clinics and they used our platform. Based on what Devin saw in the consult, he had Kai in his clinic in a week, and 4 weeks later, Kai went for his surgery. Now he no longer has any hearing problems and he's thriving at school. Now, this story is lightning fast compared to the standard referral path. Specialist wait lists are really long because family physicians are under huge pressure to do more things in less time for less money, which doesn't really give them a lot of time to figure your issues out. So they refer you to a specialist. Your referral is faxed and provides no chance for collaboration or usually any useful information for the specialist. Without this, the specialist has no choice but to throw you to the bottom of a 6 to 48 month backlog. This is even worse if you live in rural or remote communities where specialist care is almost non-existent. Now, Doc McCoy could treat anyone with his tricorder. No matter what planet they were on, regardless of the conditions or locations, he could diagnose and treat you on the spot, anytime, anywhere, no wait list required. Alethea is bringing this into reality. Our vision is enabled technology in the pocket of every healthcare professional in Canada and around the world. With specialist advice at their fingertips, they can diagnose and treat you on the spot, anytime, anywhere, no wait list required. And like a tricorder, our platform provides physicians better tools to treat patients. They can provide better treatment because they can collaborate. Specialists provide more accurate and timely advice because they have quick access to digital images, notes, and other rich data. This allows the specialist to offer advice within 24 hours instead of 6 to 48 months. This also enables specialists to treat patients in those rural and remote areas. And we've had quite some success with our platform, delivering real value to 126 physicians and growing. We provide them access to 10 specialties, with ear, nose, and throat being only one of them. We've grown to 12 staff and we made $520K in revenue, which is up 10 times from the year before. And we continue to grow month over month. And we're growing because we design around physicians and how they work. By using collaboration instead of handoffs, by incorporating digital diagnostics, AI, and workflow automation to improve and speed up their processes. And the proof is in the pudding. Our platform shows that 72% of patients only needed a consult to begin treatment. Traditional referrals would have required all of the patients to have being seen by a specialist. And this leads to some great outcomes. Patients get reduced wait times and treatment can begin within 24 hours instead of 6 to 48 months. Physicians and specialists get incremental revenue with less overhead while providing better care. Specialists can better triage patients so they can treat the right people at the right time, and AHS gets reduced wait times and cost savings. And while consults are important, our secret sauce is that our consults generate the data that build our AIs. So those AIs feed consults, which feed AIs, that feed consults, which feed AIs, round and round and round, creating better and better services until we can create the AI tricorders of the future, where specialist advice is available in 2 seconds instead of 24 hours. But in some ways, the future is already here. Our current AIs are already 30% better than a family physician at prediction. But the future is to move from the current prediction support to diagnosis and treatment advice, so we can help anyone, anywhere, anytime. No wait list required. So that's the quick Cole's notes on us. And I think we can open the floor now to have some, to answer any questions.
Thanks, Heiko. A little slow on the draw today. Now you're all spotlighted. All right, do we have questions? Let's get our hand. Mike has his hand up, so I'll let him go first.
Hi, Heiko and Stephen and Alana. I'm curious about how many people are on your team. How big is the company from an employee standpoint?
We are 12.
12. And what are your plans in terms of expanding, or are you planning on staying about the same for the next little bit?
No, we have pretty aggressive growth plans. We are currently in the second round to raise capital, and we opened our office in Vancouver. And so first step is becoming a large player in this space in Canada, and then next step is the US. So we're working on that. And we are planning to hire a lot of people from Alberta to do that. That's a good thing about us.
Sure.
Thanks, Mike. Let's just go in order of hands. Peter, then Alan, then Christina.
Hey, Steve, nice to see you again.
Hey, Pete, what's up?
Hey, sounds amazing and good. So I'd like to know more, and I think it's timely, very important that this sort of tool become available. Is there any pushback from the existing healthcare system in terms of your getting involved in their business, et cetera?
No, I don't think so. Actually, it's been positively received by MD. So a lot of the doctors, so we have more than 120 doctors now on the platform. So a lot of doctors actually like the tool, they use it. And that includes family physicians and specialists. And what we also see is, like, interesting enough, I have a meeting with the government of Alberta also. So they're interested in what we're doing. They really like that reduction of in-person visits to specialists and the associated reduction of wait lists. So we're actually using fee codes provided for this, which were underused for a while. We're very intensely using this to increase these kind of e-consultations instead of in-person meetings.
Very cool. I like it. I'll let somebody else ask questions. Thanks.
Sure. Yeah. Hey, good to see you, Pete.
Hi there.
Any other questions?
Yeah. So it just sort of looked, as you were giving the presentation, it showed like the number of physicians and specialists that were using it, that kind of thing. Is there a bit of a bottleneck there? Like, you know, because to me, it makes really perfect sense, because I know I've waited months to even hear back from a specialist, even, you know, to get an appointment, and then you still wait, that kind of thing. So is it sort of it looked like there's a sort of an adoption issue from my side, just looking at your presentation. So, because they should be wanting to jump on that, to me, would make sense to me.
Yeah, there's definitely bottleneck. The biggest bottlenecks, to be honest, is time pressure on MDs. Like with COVID and the enormous amount of backlog they have now, it's actually innovation is a challenge in that sector because it's hard for them to even think about changing your ways. I don't know if you recognize that, but if you're really stressed and under pressure, it's really hard to think about, oh, I'm going to do something else and I'm going to use a different tool, different thing. So that's one of our biggest challenges, is to get the time from them to talk to them and do a luncheon or a presentation and so on. So we're also looking at like getting larger clinics in one go so that we convince a group of clinics and then bring them on board as a group. And
well, I know some people over at the Calio, so I'll go rub elbows with them for you.
Yeah, cool. No, we're always interested in connections. The other thing that's what we're looking for, and we're sort of building at the same time, is like the capacity of specialists, because we need the specialists to provide that consultation. And that's also a longer term thing. Like you need to convince specialists that it's actually attractive to do this, because you can do it like on the Sunday when you have an hour off, or you can do it at lunch or whatever. And it's actually very helpful to also reduce the number of very uninteresting consult that specialists do. They see a lot of stuff which actually doesn't need to be seen by specialists.
Yeah, no, it seems like a really great model to me. So,
I mean, we hijacked their existing processes, but like Stephen said, it's still really hard to get their attention during this little thing called COVID. And they're both incented financially to use it. So it is kind of a win-win-win. But again, just trying to get their attention during all the stuff that's been happening.
Okay, well, keep us apprised of any asks that you have ongoing, as your community, because I think, there will be other things for you that come up. So please feel free to reach out and let us know.
Cool. Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks, Alan. Let's go to Christina next.
Hi, Christina.
Oh, hi, guys. So nice to see you. I'm going to have something to say. I just want to add how amazing you guys are, because I don't think, I am forever grateful for the work that you guys do. When my son had all his issues, I was told that it was going to take me at least, I think 6 to 8 months to even just get a call to see a specialist, an ENT. And this was after I was told, here's some nasal spray, use it and come back 3 months later. And then I might give you a referral. Then you might have to wait 8 months. And then once you see an ENT, if something else needs to happen, like surgery, you might wait another 8 months, And so this was 2 years ago. I was like, this is unbelievable. So at this point, I walked out of the clinic pissed off. My family doctor and said, I'm going to, a private clinic to get his hearing tested, which, I did, came back. Oh yeah, 30% hearing loss. And at this point I was furious, and I unloaded my frustrations to Gary, and thankfully Gary connected me to Heiko and the team. But it was I'm not joking you, a month and a week, I think, or 2 weeks, he was having the surgery. It was so easy as to go to a walk-in clinic, get a digital otoscope. It's like an otoscope attached to a telephone, essentially. It takes a picture of your ear. It gets sent straight to the specialist. And then you get this provisional diagnosis, right? But with them having your chart already and having the ENT see it right away, he can say, oh yeah, this is a kid who can hear, and these are, very important stage in his life where he's learning to talk and all these things. And he was behind in school, literacy, numeracy. And I thought, something needs to happen fast. So I can imagine having waited, and then COVID happened. So I actually took time off from work for his surgery and never went back to work. So he probably would have now just been getting the surgery. And 2 years later, my son has had, he's all caught up. He doesn't have a speech therapist anymore. he's like learned to play the piano, and he's making friends. Like he was the shyest kid. Like he would cry and he would hold my leg all day long because he didn't understand what was happening. And you gotta understand, like a hearing loss issue, when they say 30% hearing loss for a kid, and they, like when I went to the hearing clinic and they played me a video of what he can hear, they're like, this is what a normal person can hear, and this is what your son could hear. I was amazed at 35% hearing loss in like 1 ear. You know, a little like moving my phone from one place to the other, which is what my son did. He moved the phone while they played this, you know, video for me, prevented me from understanding everything that the computer was saying to me, which allowed me to understand how much of a hearing loss that actually meant to him. It meant that he was completely checked out of conversations and at school, and, you know. So anyway, that time that it took him to see a specialist and the service that we received, and I always say this, it was as if we had the care of a private healthcare system on a public healthcare system. That is huge. And this could like transform the Alberta healthcare system, right? Like this is the effect that it can have on Albertans. So it's incredible. The work that you guys are doing is just unbelievable, and I'm so forever grateful. Seriously, I could.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Need
We're
a-
honored to
Christina.
have helped.
Need a testimonial there, Christina, if you haven't already.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing your story. That's
But like
incredible.
Christina's point is really good. Like what we see is a lot of that triage stuff, like determining what actually needs the attention way earlier in the process is so important. And it could be cancer, could be ear loss, could be a lot of a lot of our cases are dermatology cases, and you know, finding early stages of skin cancer is so important here in Alberta, which is such a dangerous disease. And if you can find it early and you can send a digital image to a dermatologist, looks at it, says, yeah, come in and we're doing a biopsy, that is such an important feature. So we're actually really happy with that healthcare impact. That's the most important. That's actually our mission. We feel that's our mission to improve that. And hopefully we make money with that. It's a good thing.
Incredible. I see Margot's in the chat too. We have a lot of OGs from Rainforest here.
Yeah.
So I really want to get us into breakout rooms so we can have some smaller conversations and pick these experienced leaders' brains. So let's try to do as rapid fire as we can through Patrick, Carrie, Jenna, and Emily, and Freeman. That is a lot. So let's try to get through those and get into some more smaller conversations. Give her, Patrick.
All right. Well, there's no pressure for me to try and ask this quickly. I might have just missed this. But who actually pays for the platform then? Because it looks like the family physician is free. Is it like and it seems like it still integrates into the billing codes that people use in general. Do you mind elaborating a little bit?
Yeah, I can answer that. Like, so Alberta Health actually, so the government of Alberta actually created these codes to stimulate this effect, so to get more doctors to use eConsult. But they were underused because there were no real good tools to use the codes, and that's what we jumped on. So it's actually existing budget that's being used for this. And it's a normal process where, you know, family doctor spends time on it, specialist spends time on it, and they get compensated for that effort.
Okay. So it's not like it. So it is coming out of like our like public healthcare budget, and it's one of the, and hopefully it'll become one of those mythical efficiencies that our government really loves to talk about all the time.
Yeah, because it's cheaper to do it at the family physician level than it is to do it at the specialist level.
Yeah. No, this is really, really interesting. I look forward to seeing how this gets taken up.
All right, let's go over to Carrie. Thanks, Patrick.
I'm just curious whether patients and or physicians have the option to decline a referral. Because believe it or not, there are specialists out there that people just don't want to see.
There are specialists that people don't like. The specialist doesn't want to see the patient, or the patient doesn't want to see the specialist.
The patient doesn't want to see the specialist. I've actually experienced that firsthand.
Yeah.
And went back to my GP and said, no, I refuse to see this person again. Find me another one, please.
Yeah, and that's a very serious thing. So we're trying, and I think Heiko said it in the presentation, we're trying to curate the specialists. So we're actually looking at specialists who have good bedside manners, really treating patients well, writing proper response to a family doctor. So we're doing quality control on that. It's a very sensitive topic, I must say, because we cannot look at the details of the information, and only one person in the organization is allowed to see medical information. We're trying to manage quality in that sense. So
cool.
Hopefully nobody has to be, like no specialist has to be refused.
Thank you.
Thanks, Carrie. Let's go to Jenna and Emily, tag teaming.
Hi, this is really amazing. We were just wondering, how do you navigate handling the privacy of the patient information? What does that look like?
Yeah, so it's basically encrypted and then encrypted and then encrypted. So it's encrypted in transit and it's encrypted in rest. I'll get slightly technical, but we also encrypt it in the database. So even I can't go into the database and read your patient record. There is actually no way for us to actually read your information. So it is perfectly encrypted. And then it's also protected at the row level. So only the family physician and the specialist who are on the consult can actually read the information. No one else could even access it. And if they could, they can't even read it. So.
Okay, awesome. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you both. And Freeman.
Cool. Yeah. Again, I might have missed this in the initial presentation, but just health systems are notoriously bad for software being incredibly awkward and unusable and stuff like that. I see you all laughing and smiling at that. So I'm just wondering, is this an internal software that you guys are piggybacking on? Is it your own software? And how have you kind of tackled that issue? Because obviously if it's, hard to approach, it's harder for people to use.
Do you want to answer that, Stephen, or do you want me?
Yeah, so I can answer one part and Heiko can answer the other part. Like from a business development side, we're extremely customer focused. So we actually have a lot of conversations with medical doctors about what they really need. So what is the real problem we're addressing and how is the best way to solve that? So Lana and the rest of the BD, the business development team, go out and actually have long conversations with doctors. And we have, like last Thursday, I had a dinner with 4 specialists. We really talk through processes, like orthopedics. This is the example, like how does it break down into the different areas of the body, all that kind of stuff. So really trying to get those user stories really right. And then Heiko's team is working on an implementation, and Heiko can talk about how we do that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so same thing, like Stephen said, we really focus on the physician, right? The physician is our customer. And so we focus on not just giving them a solution that's usable, but a solution that they can use, that streamlines their work efficiencies, that's easy to use, that makes sense, right? So we really focus on making it an easy, simple experience because we're trying to make their job easier. And so we really focus on trying to streamline it and make it easy and usable. And then we'll release something, get feedback from them, make any tweaks based on their feedback, so that it is the simplest, most powerful tool that they can have to do work fast.
Cool. Awesome. Thanks, guys.
It's amazing what happens when you design for the customer rather than just a solution. And just a quick example. So what Christina was talking about was this. So a digital otoscope connected to an app. The app has the AI and all the referral tools. We also now have a web portal that further extends the functionality.
Awesome. Okay, thank you all so much for that conversation. Let's get into smaller rooms so that everybody can have a voice and ask their questions or share or ask for, whatever you're looking for to advance your own journey in the ecosystem. We'll break out into groups of about 4 or 5-ish. And if you want to change rooms, just come back, but we'll probably rotate 2 or 3 times here. So have fun. We'll see you in about 7 minutes.
Can I make a final remark before we go there?
You can. The rooms are open, so you might lose a few.
Oh yeah, I'll forget.
We'll do it when we come back, Stephen. Let's do it when we come back.
Yeah.
Perfect. Come back, everybody. You obviously had a lot to say because really no one came back early. So that's awesome. We're gonna spin the wheel one more time, but first I'll give it back over to Stephen, who we had to cut off there. So sorry, Stephen. What comment were you gonna make there?
No, I just want to share my gratitude and happiness about seeing Rainforest still, flourishing and being so successful. And I just want to remember that in 2015, I think we had the first session. I actually met Evan in that first session. We got along, and first we did a whole bunch of work for the Rainforest. I'm actually sitting in the platform building. I want to show that.
Oh, nice.
So we're sort of early users of the platform building, which is one of the projects that came out of Rainforest. So it's just such a great institute, and I want to thank you guys for still doing that. And the other side of that is that Evan and I have been working together, and we generated about 35 jobs, I think, in the last 2-3 years, all in healthcare. And we're super happy to work with the Rainforest community. Also, people, if you're interested in jobs and that kind of stuff, send us resumes, send us information. We're strong supporters of what you guys do. I just wanted to say thank you for having us over.
Yeah, it's great to have you, Stephen and Evan. We hear your names all the time. We haven't seen you in a while. We've been going strong online for, yeah, it's actually 2 years this month that we are an online community, and I will announce our first in-person event at the end of the hour, but we're so pleased to have you. So let's spin the wheel again. If you're in a room with repeats and you want to come back and get reshuffled, feel free. Zoom isn't always so good at shuffling the room. So have fun. We'll see you back in about 6-ish minutes. Everybody, we have a bit of a different announcement portion of the hour today. So a couple of things I wanted to touch on really quickly. A huge thank you to Alethea Medical for coming today and sharing your story. Obviously, huge support from this crew. So if there's any way we can all help, you know how to find us. Thank you to all of you. Next, I do just want to say sorry for rushing everyone today. We hear you that people want more networking time. So we're trying to just get more of that in. And we know these conversations get exciting and engaging, but we want to make sure there's time for those breakout rooms. And we will be devoting full hours to more networking in the coming months. However, we have a really full schedule. And on that note, we are going to try our very first hybrid in-person event on March 30th. So this has just been confirmed. We will be at the Platform Innovation Center, but we will still be streaming on Zoom. So our friends in Edmonton and beyond and throughout Alberta can join, or if you're just not comfortable coming in person, you can join. So watch for more details on that. Just normal registration through Luma, but we'll have parking instructions and all of those things that you need when you're meeting in person again. I'm sure it will be clunky, so bear with us. And then another quick thing is next week, Lunch Without Lunch, we have talked about how we are undergoing a refresh strategy for Rainforest. And so next week's Lunch Without Lunch will be a focus group kind of style, where we'll be working with some leaders in the space of culture, community, leadership strategy to talk about new strategy for Rainforest. So we'd love to see all of your faces here next week and spread the word. You'll see it on our socials. If you have announcements, there's a couple of people who've already kind of reserved announcement space today, which is okay. I know the Startup TNT event is happening. That's in the chat, Evolve You Demo Day. So lots of exciting things happening in the chat. Looks like Adam has some stuff. So that's all happening. Add more to the chat if you don't mind, and in our Slack channel under the events, of course. There are two actually groups, very different groups from SAIT who wanted to make some quick announcements. So we'll have Megan maybe share first, and then we'll head over to Jazz, who's actually with Ryerson, but combined with SAIT Initiative. So
awesome. Thanks, Bridget. Yeah, I did throw some information in the chat here. I'm Megan Donahoe with SAIT. Work with Jim Gibson on digital transformation at SAIT. And I wanted to draw your attention to a virtual panel and workshop we're hosting tomorrow for Creative City. It's at 5:30 tomorrow. And I thought this group of people here and the voices and ideas that you have are the type of people we want to hear from in engaging the creative economy. So just a little bit about Creative City. It's spawned out of the work from CityX Lab at MRU. And it's based on some previous work with Active City and Learning City projects, if anyone has seen that before. And there was initial steering committee made up of partners like Calgary Arts Development, Calgary Economic Development, Arts Commons, as well as some individuals working in film and consulting, music, and the digital industries. And that committee identified 4 strategic pillars to guide the future of Calgary's economy. So at the workshop tomorrow, the focus is on how these pillars speak to Calgarians, specifically those like yourselves within the digital sector of our city. So I'll be moderating a very short panel discussion with Jim Gibson, Niraj Gupta, Danielle Gifford, and Yui Savage. So some of you might know those names. And then there will be a breakout session to gather some of your ideas and perspectives on the strategy. So I threw in the registration link in the chat, and if you can make it for a little bit tomorrow virtually, that would be awesome. We'd love to see you. Thanks, Bridget.
Megan. Yeah, thank you so much. Yes, Alberta Tech Symposium. Thanks, Jade. And podcast, if you want to host or guest, connect with Al. And Adam, loving that Canadian Startup Toolkit directory. Very cool. Woohoo. Okay, so we'll throw it back over to Jazz and Katarina from Ryerson and State School for Advanced Digital Technology about a great program available.
Great, thank you. Thanks, Bridget. So my name is Jazz. I'm the program coordinator at ADAPT, and with me is Katarina, who's the project coordinator.
Hi, everyone.
All right, I'll hand it to Kat to start off on the program side of things. Oops, and then I will talk on the employer side. Go ahead, Kat.
Yes, so we're here from ADAPT. So we stand for Advanced Digital and Professional Training. What we are is we're a skills development and work placement program, and we strive to bridge the employment gap for recent graduates, newcomers, and career changers at no cost. So as we said, we are based from Ryerson University, but we've also partnered with SAIT in 2020 to be able to offer our program in Alberta. We're also partnered with St. Mary's University in Halifax to offer the program to participants from the Atlantic side of Canada. So how the program works is there's no in-person offerings currently right now, just with the pandemic, but we do offer 2 delivery modes. So the first is virtual classroom. This is where participants attend instructor-led workshops through Zoom, and they also get access to career coaching sessions from one of our ADAPT staff members. The other delivery mode that we have is the online mode. So this is where participants, they complete self-guided modules, and they also attend weekly group check-ins. So what the commitment looks like for participants is they have to complete a total of 17 workshops to receive their certificate of completion. The virtual classroom participants attend 1 weeknight workshop and 1 Saturday workshop per week. The online participants are responsible for completing 2 self-guided modules per week and attending 1 weekly group check-in. We also get the participants from both streams to attend employer guest speaker presentations. So this is where we invite guest speakers from industry, and they can talk to our participants about anything. It could be career advice, it could be any employer hiring opportunities that are coming up in their organizations, that kind of thing. Participants get to network with their peers. We do ask that they complete surveys, share their job search progress with us, and we ask them to treat this program as they would their job, since it is a professional development program. So I'll now pass over to Jazz so she can quickly go through the employer engagement side of the program.
Thank you, Kat. So we have 3 minutes. I'll make it quick. So that was, if you are looking to be a participant of the ADAPT program, if you're a recent grad, then please check out ryerson.ca/adapt to learn more. Now, if you are an employer and you would like to hire entry-level talent, we do work with TechNation, as they are our partner, so formerly known as ITAC, and they have the Career Ready program. So if you're an employer and you would like to hire an ADAPT participant, you can access up to 70% in wage subsidy, since we like to really represent those diversity groups. So a lot of our participants belong to those diversity groups, and we like to support them. So if you are looking to hire anybody, please reach out to me. My contact information will be available soon. So just to give you an idea of the kind of placements that employers have hired our adapters into, anything like a marketing specialist, e-commerce coordinator, project coordinator, admin, we've got data analyst, really all across the board, because our participants come from various educational backgrounds, and they come from any kind of university as well. So it's not just SAIT or Ryerson, they can come from any university or college as well.
I can give them a third person second opinion as well, because we've hired a couple students to the ADAPT program. It's great.
Yes, and that was what I was going to mention. We've actually worked with Heiko. We're still working with you. It's a pleasure. So yeah, by all means, if you would like to talk a little bit about the process and everything, go right ahead.
Yeah, no, it's a great program. The students are really good. The great part for us is that it's full-time, not one of these 10-hour per week internships, which makes it actually useful. So it's been super valuable, super useful for us to help grow our company and get great young talent and also diverse talent.
Awesome. Thank you so much. That's great. And if you want to contact me or work with us, please reach out to me at jdov@ryerson.ca. And if you're looking to apply as a participant, please reach out to adaptinfo@ryerson.ca, where Kat handles those inquiries. Thanks, Bridget.
Awesome. Thank you both for sharing. As I mentioned in the chat, we've presented to the group, the students, every cohort, I think, and it always brings new, diverse, younger folk to Lunch Without Lunch. And I love how they show up like that. They've been committed, those I've met. So it's been great. Thanks for sharing all those. We're just at the top of the hour. So thanks everybody for coming. We do leave this room open if anyone wants to stick around and mingle awkwardly in the virtual world. And hope to see you at the focus group next week at Lunch Without Lunch. Have a great rest of your Wednesday.